Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for April 22nd through 29th, 2024. Well, here we sit in some of the most powerful and potent astrology on the heels of that total solar eclipse. We've got Jupiter and Uranus together in Taurus, an incredibly powerful meeting. Jupiter is an expander, an amplifier, like a crystal, just more of whatever it comes across. Uranus is higher frequency vibration, electricity, activation. And so we're in this incredibly activating time. It's powerful that Jupiter's the ruler of Sagittarius and Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. They're together in Taurus, the earthiest of the earth signs. So it's talking about a higher frequency vibrational future upgrade to the earth, to form. We've been talking about Uranus from the beginning going into Taurus. That was back in 2018. That Uranus is known as the planet of revolution. And so it's the ruler of Aquarius. It's talking about moving into the Aquarian age, the future. And in Taurus, a revolution of form. Taurus represents the physical structures that support life, everything we need to thrive, survive, and thrive. And that's kind of the core issue of Taurus. It's like the energies of low self-worth, whether versus deserving, and particularly deserving what we need to survive, but deserving and owning and feeling worthy of our own true wealth, our spiritual wealth. Because supernova souls and those who have come in the light have been rejected, exiled, persecuted, called evil, everyone turning on them. These scenarios have played out. And so when we go into raise our frequency vibration and expand our vibrate our energy, basically, raise our energy frequency, then you're going to find fear programming. You're going to find all this grief about where you've been rejected and where you've been cast aside because of the light that you are. And so it's a lot to unpack, and it's all coming up for supernova souls because it feels like we haven't really had an opportunity to find this deep repressed energy from past lives where we have been rejected for the light that we are. And you're only going to find it when you start to come back into the light that you are. Now, this is a huge message coming through around spiritual revelation. We've been told that in order to get out of the Piscean age, we need to clean up the distortions of the Piscean age and the persecution energy against the light, just what we're talking about. But the Piscean age was also a time of mysteries, miracles, and magic, and miracle healing. So, and revelation. So, as the dark forces kind of came down upon the movement of the Yeshua abroad, um, it was like a direct attack on that spiritual impulse, the Christ consciousness. And so we had to hide who we were. We had to disperse and be away from each other as a group, because if one of us was a target, then two of us way more of a target, except for that that's kind of where we got into a trap, because it's two or more that can hold the field of Christ consciousness. We can do it ourselves, but this is the main energy behind the programming, keeping us from finding each other and coming together. Two or more. Amplifying. When you're with another supernova soul of or a child of the light, or one that wants to resonate at these higher frequency vibrations, we know the truth of who we are. When there's two of you together, it's so much easier to hold that field. And now we're finding, as we go in our exploration of what it means to be a supernova soul, what is really the story, and we're coming again and again back to Mother Earth, the mother, the goddess energy, the feminine, the divine feminine that can hold us and support us and help us heal so that we can receive the Christ impulse. So there's so much going on in this astrology. So let's just talk it through. We've just had the exact conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus from the 19th to the 21st of April. they were at 21 degrees, so of Taurus. So we're talking about embodiment of higher frequency vibrations. We're talking about a wealth revolution, of a value revolution, of like total breakdown in the structures of our life around what really matters, and a brand new start in building new structures that can actually support us in coming into our full potential. We don't have a choice. We're not at this point with everything we've gone through gonna like wait for social acceptance to come into the light that we are. At this point, no, right? Like we've already been so alone for so long. And this is where we stand. And we stand against those oppressors that have come against the light, and we say, you have no authority over me in this light. And we stand with those who have judged us for our light, who have chosen social conformity over our life, things like this. All of this is up for review, and we couldn't really find it until now. So Jupiter and Uranus at 21 degrees, this is a number of activation, because 2 and 1 come together. You add those in numerology, it makes a 3. So you've got the 1, you've got the 2, and you've got the 3, which is the Horus, the greater than the parts, the creation principle. And that's what we need to run with, okay? Because we just had a total solar eclipse in Aries, speaking to accessing our true energetic, our life force, where we've given it away and how to take it back and own it for ourselves, where we've been leaking it out, where we've been denying the truth of who we are to make everybody else around us comfortable. No, there's nothing comfortable about this Jupiter Uranus conjunction. It's like, we all want higher activation. We're seeking out, to light enlightenment and spiritual truth and all this. Um, These are these energies flooding in and breaking down in Taurus the structures that are no longer serving you. We've all been living a life at the structure. So when we're talking about structures, we can talk about our physical body. We can talk about the social structures of society, or the structures of our life, our relationships, where we live, our, just the way we live our life. Those structures are ready for an overhaul. And we know this, we can feel it. We haven't been living true. We haven't been able to. We've been stuck underneath all of the rubble of this mistreatment and rejection for the light that we are. At the same time, on the edge of coming into the light that we are. And so it's a rapid detox and release of karma, constructs, belief systems around who we are, what our purpose is, what we mean to people around us. It's just so profound. And so we have to know that on a cellular level of our physical body, we're having a complete overhaul and revolution of physical form, and then in our lives. So there's really cool messages coming around this Scorpio full moon, and the Scorpio full moon is on Tuesday, April 23rd. And that Scorpio full moon is the culmination of eclipse season. So it's really, really important. And for the first time in a long time, we're getting messages about landing into new realities. We've been breaking down. It's been a glorious destruction, demolition of like everything that we thought that mattered, everything we thought we were doing, all the people and relationships we thought we were working with. And it's just like that complete breakdown, because it's not reflecting our truth. But with the Scorpio full moon, it's happening on Tuesday, April 23rd, and it's happening in the evening of that day. And so it's happening on the 23rd, 24th in some parts of the world. And so we'll be doing the activation though in mountain time at 10 a.m. mountain time on Tuesday, April 23rd. So I hope you can join that full moon activation. As this next lunation after the last eclipse is the culmination, the completion of eclipse season. And so here we are. That's why this is so intense. But on top of that, we got this Jupiter Uranus conjunction, and they came together, like I said, at 21, activating. So it's telling us that the higher frequency vibration, the overhaul, the revolution of physical form, and our relationship to physical form has everything to do with creation energy and taking back our access to creation energy, becoming co-creators. Now, the cool thing is that there's another message to this, another uh, that comes along the next chapter that says, as Jupiter and Uranus come together on the 25th and the 26th, so we got Tuesday, that full moon, and then a couple days later, on Thursday and Friday, that's when Jupiter and Uranus will be at 22 degrees of Taurus. Now, 22 is very powerful because it's a master builder number. It's two 11s. 11 is like a gateway and a portal to a whole new reality, as well as a standoff against opposing forces. And 22 is taking that standoff, and it's kind of like taking the duality and putting it back into oneness. And the 22 has a number, it's 2 and 2 is 4. And the Scorpio full moon happens at 4 degrees Scorpio. So 4 is important, and 4 is 4 walls, it's structures. So it's kind of saying, yeah, now we're going to start building the structures to land, in this crazy transition that we've been in and in between. And so many supernovas souls feeling like, gosh, the more work I do spiritually, the more settled I feel in myself, the less I know where I'm going or what I'm doing. It's very uncomfortable in its own way. And yet we've been asked by the mother to find the peace in what's happening right now, to be fully present in the moment as a way to, like, you can't really get anywhere from unless you can be where you're at. And that she says, you don't need to know exactly what it looks like or where exactly you're going or who you're going to meet there, because we haven't been able to find each other. We haven't been able to build. We've been so stuck in the old stories, you know, and so it's completely unknown. And yet we're finding this inner faith. And this is what this time is so much about. It's like everything that we thought we could trust or understand is not real. It's like a movie, but it's like bringing us to this place where we can't trust anything, and then we find our faith. We reignite and re-acknowledge this inner faith and this trust. And the mother's coming up to reach us. She says, we're doing this together. And let me hold you. And it's okay not to know you're on my dream now. You're in my train. Yes, you're driving, you're acting in the moment in what feels in alignment with your body and your true self. But the agenda to go out and try to create something or make something happen, that's not the way we're moving in the world anymore. So we have to have this faith. We have to have that faith in the moment. And the mother wants us, when we can, rest. She says that's when we're on her timeline, right? Because there's this urgency energy. Part of the way that this last chapter of propaganda and programming and narratives coming at us, there's this urgency that we're running out of time and something's going to happen, that cataclysm type energy. And it's hard not to, in our own life, like, oh, I've got to accomplish something, I do something. These are these intense times. The astrology is putting so much pressure on us right now. And yet the mother says, where are you trying to get to? Slow down. 'Cause the only time and the only place that we can be on her timeline is when we're in alignment with her, when we slow down. We allow her to rise up to meet us, to communicate with us, to hold us, to reassure us, to love us, and to feel that we're walking with her. And that from that place of our truth in the moment, then we can align with our next right action in accordance and alignment with her, which is so beautiful, right? So we're moving out of this whole cataclysm, fear of our own power, and into co-creators, dropping all the burdens and the stories we've been carrying about failure or not doing right by God or turning away or not being able to stop the evil forces. And it's just like, just stop. Mother says, give it over to me, hand it over to me. It's not your thing to solve. You can be a part of this beautiful journey. Take your place, she says, as the petal of the lotus, of her lotus, the, the place that only you can take, your individual expression. You're a part of this from the beginning. Take your place, and yet drop all the stories of something you need to do or fix or heal or make up for. That's all agenda and narrative keeping us from, distracting us from this connection, this peace, this mother love, this trust. The only way that the dark forces could take control of Earth is because first they had to disconnect us from the mother. So the first thing we need to do to free ourselves is to come back to her and stand with her as the true authority. And this helps us. It's very powerful to, there's a picture coming through around um, eh, being able to visit energies of our past and literally change the frequency, rewrite the story in a way by, instead of running away, standing in our light of truth with the mother and with the legions of light and with the support that we have that we didn't know we had. Um, and again, it's this energy of like, they've been trying to scare us off, literally off of this planet, which we were the visionaries of the original blooming and manifestation of this realm, her dream. And they wanted us to think, and this has been a huge replay for those of us who've been struggling with psychological, energetic frequencies, attacks, making us feel like it's like, you're not comfortable here. You don't belong here. And this is a big energy coming up, exile and rejection for the light that we are. And so we've turned it down to fit in, to get through, to survive in so many different ways. And whatever way you have turned it down or compromised yourself, lived everybody else's truth around you, it's coming up. And this energies are showing you, and these people might show up and kind of um, think it's going to be the same way it was before in farming your energy and maybe manipulating you or keeping you small so they can feed on you. And then it's like the well has run dry for you. The answer is no. Supernova Soul is having a lot of this coming up. And it's like, on the one hand, we want to open up to our oneness, to our light, to our love, to the revelation. On the other hand, it's like recognizing how when we compromise our truth and go along with the agendas and the energies of the people around us, then we pretty much, it's like the same thing as that's where we've been leaking out our energy. So we're finding these places. And so those people and those energies have to show up so we can be like, oh, all right, I'm going to do it this different this time. And it's kind of like to those energies that want to come feed this kind of posture of like, oh no, the answer's still no. Oh, it's not. They want to negotiate. They'll try to get you into like trigger you so they can get you into negotiation to hand over your power. And it's like this whole psychological game. And then you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Oh, you're just once again demanding my energy. And it's like, no, the answer is no. I'm going over here now. Walk away. This is such a great message from the mother. She says, I want to take care of you. I want to take care of you. But you have to first take that first move, right? And for a lot of us, this message, it's a hard one. But it's like it's up to you to remove yourself from the abusive situations. And those situations that do not respect you and do not receive you. There's a powerful message like we're going through a massive activation. The time is now. Nothing can stop it. And it's up to us to get ourselves into a place where we can bloom and blossom. And so this is part of what we're feeling with the structures of our life, a revolution and structures of our life that need to change based on our true wealth. If our wealth was doing what everybody else around us thought we should do at all times, if we thought that was our identity, our purpose, you know, uh, so wherever we've gone along with the program or anybody else's agenda, we've been leaking out our energy, and now we're being shown this, and we're being given the opportunity to say no and to have that boundary. And we can also have love, right? Because we know that everybody has their own source, but we've got old contracts, the supernova souls. Like before we were rejected for the light that we were actually received and seen as healers and the spiritual support for our community. And we've got to go back to that reset and receive ourselves and also receive our own revelation. There's a picture of in this whole rejection exile thing that's coming up. Um, there's this picture around where you, as a child of the light, had access to this revelation, to downloads, to this intuitive perception, to this connection, to this real live communication and conversation with master teachers and things like this. And so we've all had these experiences in our past lives and this life, of course, where we've had a revelation. We figured something out and we feel this gift. Or it might just be a vision or an energy or a field, right? And how often have we had this experience where we're like, oh, I gotta go share this. I gotta go share this. And then before we even think about it, we're seeking out our community or our group or family who we'd like to share it with. And then when it's like we're so excited about this energy and this revelation, this spirituality, this light, this truth. And then when we go to share it, it's like not received at all in the way that we thought it would. Like, then shit got weird and people turned on us and we were called the devil and whatever happened. And so then so a lot of throat chakra stuff come up where we turned it down and we just didn't talk about our revelations. We didn't talk about our insights, right? We don't know. We don't say that. That keep it to ourselves. And yet we haven't actually been able to receive it. So this is like kind of going to that place in your life where you felt that revelation and that awakening, or a past life where you were in a position to share glorious truths or energies with your community and then it wasn't received. But like, stop in that moment. Like the mother says, just like, hold on, where are you going? Stop and receive that revelation for yourself. Receive that energy. And the message is like, that was for you. And of course, we're givers and we're lovers and supernova souls. And we've been through so much abuse, but we like still have an open heart and all this love. And we just want to share and give and love these gifts, right? But they were rejected. And that's not our problem, actually. We don't have to take that personally because uh, it's just against the light. It's not against us personally. It's we that's what happened. We took it personally. It's like, oh my gosh, these people hate us and they hate me and they're coming after me and I've got to resolve this. I got to convince them I'm an okay person. How many narcissist relationships have you found this or situations that you've been in where you're like, oh no, you'd misunderstood me. This is where I was coming from. And they're like just totally twist around your words and make you into the bad person. And you're like, no, this is I'm coming from love, and the more you try to do that, the more they twist it around, and when you find yourself trying to justify yourself, but then you remove yourself from that situation. And this is such a powerful message for us. Go ahead. It's up to you to take care of you, right? What if Source, the Mother, God, wants you in a place that you feel received and welcome to bloom into the truth of who you are? It's absolutely crucially important, and for us to remain in situations where we are limited and blocked and there's no reception, like we cannot keep giving where we're not received. And we've got to get to an environment that can support us. And like, so that's this beautiful message from the mother. She's like, I want to take care of you and I want to see you in your full expression. I want to see you as that petal of the lotus in my dream. But you also have to stand up and own it and take it and claim the abundance that's yours, the support that's yours for the true light of who you are. In this revolution of wealth, you are rich beyond measure because you're a supernova soul and you've gone through all of this in past lives. This is all we get to take with us, our gifts and skills, our spiritual awareness. We can't even take our concepts and our thoughts with us. All we can take is our spiritual and soul gifts. And that is the wealth of the world. And you are crazy abundant in it. But it's like a treasure that's been hidden down in the bottom of the ocean under all this rejection and abuse and exile and persecution and um, control-based energies and restrictions and limitations on who you get to be in the world, you know. And this is where we come to this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, Uranus the ruler of Aquarius, and besides Aries, but Aries will go along. Aries is so fun-loving and so like, come on, everybody. They'll go along with the program, but they're freedom-loving too. You back them in the corner, they're going to be like, oh no, But Sagittarius and Aquarius are two of the most freedom loving signs. It's just so important to them to have their freedom and autonomy and to go beyond the restrictions of society and belief systems and programming. And to have these two planets together, it's very powerful in an energy of going beyond the restrictions and limitations. And that's Saturn has represented that, of this limitations of the physical world, and then the control energies that absconded with the physical, the control forces in the lower matrix, or like Saturn was like taken over and became a control device rather than a support for spiritual evolution. And this is where we're taking it back. This is Saturn and Pisces rewriting the stories. We have the power to rewrite these narratives. And it's our way of doing time travel. We have to understand these forces we've been going up against. They've got time travel. They've got directed energy weapons. They've got and here we are stuck in this dimension trying to do it on a spiritual battle. And so we have to reclaim our tools. This is also the energetic and spiritual wealth that we're talking about with this wealth revolution, our intuitive wealth. Our ability to protect ourselves, our ability to use telepathy, to levitate, to come into our light body. And it's like we're just being forced to claim this back. And that fits the Jupiter Uranus conjunction too. So going back to these treasures, because these treasures, the spiritual treasures are being activated. Because Uranus, if you look at the symbol of Uranus, it's the only one besides, I guess, Chiron, where the circle, which tends to represent in the symbols used for astrology, um, a circle seems typically represents a person or the head, the consciousness. And so in Uranus, the circle is below a square that's kind of got a box around it. And it's almost like I've always seen it as our higher self or this higher wisdom that we don't, whether or not we can access it. So Uranus is that connection to our higher self, also higher frequency vibrations and advanced technologies. So to me, it almost looks like the Ark of the Covenant. It's like, oh, can you have, like, what is this mysterious power? Fear of our own power. So Uranus also, so Saturn has a boundary. Saturn is a lot of the energy we feel, this restriction, like everything's working against us, and it's like, and yet Uranus also represents an authority, but an authority on a higher level of coming into our higher intuitive gifts. And do you have permission? Are you worthy? Can you handle it? So a lot of the authority energy associated with Uranus and Aquarius is like, can you handle your own power, or are you going to be destructive with it? Are you in alignment with source and can receive your co-creation power, or have you gone against? So it's like our own guardian of the threshold, our own connection to our higher self, and any fear programming we've encountered by being told that our power is destructive, that's keeps us from fully accessing this higher wisdom, but it's ours. And this is the thing that we've realized as supernova souls, like we've already come into these higher intuitive gifts on earth in this evolution. We've already worked with these higher powers. They're ours. We don't even have to learn. I mean, we don't know how to use them because we don't fully remember, but we don't need to learn. We just need to remember and to know that we've already worked. We've already gone through a spiritual ascension. We've already worked with light body. We've already worked with advanced technologies. And so we're simply claiming them back. And there's nothing to fear. But these forces aren't going to just hand it over. We have to literally face them. And a lot of the readings that we've done in the past months have had this energy of like, wait a minute. And this is what we were saying, like, stop in what's happening. Rewind, where we just had to get away. from the energies or the reaction to us or the fear, the attack, the punishment energy from these authorities, and we just had to get away. We just wanted to get away, try to save ourselves, and to stop and say, "No, I'm going to go face you." Because it's only when we face them and we say, "Wait, do you have authority over me? I've been running from you." It's just Oz behind the curtain. What we saw was like in a past life picture of like teachers. This is coming up huge because we're talking about authority contracts of higher wisdom and higher technologies and advanced intuitive awareness. And so there's this picture of a council or people that you saw as your teachers and elders that you trusted, and you thought they had your best interest in mind, and all of a sudden seeing their reaction to your true spiritual light. And at the time you couldn't see it, but looking back from now after what you've gone through in the last few years, you can see clearly it's like they appeared and they were not who they said they were, and they were with horns and snakes and like these demonic looking beings. And it was like, oh God. And then we took all this rejection and we took all this fear programming, we took all this attack and we took it personally. It's like, oh my gosh, there must be something horribly wrong. And we didn't see that there was these spiritual teachers and so-called spiritual leaders pretending to be good people. And of course the society, everything said, go trust these people, they'll teach you, and you know they'll help you, and you can be in this spiritual organization like the church or whatever. And then when they saw your true light revealed, they were like, had to exterminate you. And but you now going back can see who they really are, and now you can see who they really were. And we can see the energies behind. It's starting to be all is going to be revealed. And the big part of what this place we've been stuck is that we haven't been able to see where people are really at, like this false facade and this fake misrepresentation. Our whole society being based for thousands of years on saying this is what's good and right and true, but it's actually evil behind it, you know and then calling us evil, the true spiritual light. And so when we're talking about Yeshua going into the temple and turning the tables on the money changers, this is what it is. It's like, no, we're not going to call light dark and dark like light anymore. You know, I'm not going to demonize the bringers of the pure, beautiful spiritual light in the army of the mother. Like, we're just coming back into this deep and profound innocence and alignment and truth, and this coming back to the mother. Even though as you come back to your spiritual connection and truth and love, there's this feeling like, oh, I don't deserve it. I was away for so long. I turned away. So a lot of the Scorpio full moon is grief at where we turned away from the mother and the love and our connection, and claiming that back. Um, because when we're there, we all of a sudden, when we're in back in connection with her, we come back into that faith and trust. We've dropped all our stories of anything we need to fix or heal, or so we don't have those karmic triggers anymore into the trauma drama narrative. And we can feel that we have her support and we have her guidance, and we're in alignment. So we can begin to co-create knowing that we can't miscreate because we're back home with her, you know? And so this is a big thing of the Jupiter Uranus uh, union in Taurus, the earthiest earth sign, is a direct connection to the mother. So we've been saying this, Mother Dragon awakening. She's like, wait a minute. What have you guys been doing on my realm? Get this shit out of here. These harmful technologies and the poisons and the evil people and the deep underground bases, cloning, all that shit. Done. No more. I mean, and for Jupiter and Uranus come together in this, like, oh yeah, awakening of Mother Dragon. And it's her Kundalini awakening, and we get to go along with. And it's a beautiful journey. And she says, get on the ride. And can we go from, because so much of this revolution of wealth is about, can we receive, right? The mother says, I want to take care of you. Can you let it come in? And can you take the steps to receive, to listen, to follow, you know, to get in your driver's seat? won't align with me, but be willing to take the next step that comes, to be brave, to take action, but in alignment. And so this revolution of wealth is a revolution of coming into our wealth and our higher intuitive abilities and celebrating our revelation, receiving our revelation before we need to share it with anyone else, or whether it's going to be received or understood. Stop and receive. We've got to learn to receive. And I mean, on so many levels, it's so complex, this Jupiter, Uranus, and Taurus, of the overhaul of wealth and the overhaul of our self-worth and clearing up all of these stories, that we were the one where we taken on the karma of our oppressors. If we're talking about the awakening of Earth, and we got to go back to that Atlantean time and the catastrophes, and recognize that we were programmed to think that we caused those catastrophes, but we did not. And this is a big thing in supernova souls, this like feeling like you were told when you were rejected and you were called evil, that they told you again and again, you went against God, you did something wrong. And then the punishment and the persecution, you were kind of like, God, I must have done something wrong. God, I was like, and so we kind of just bought into it, and we've been carrying the shame. And this is what we've been doing. We've been carrying the shame of those who have abused us again and again over lifetimes. And we've surrounded ourselves with these people making apologies for their behavior. And all the pain we feel and their projection is about what they did to us in a past life. Because it's like we have to come out from under this rubble, and we have to come out from under the persecution energy. We have to rewrite these stories, just dust ourselves off and move on. But those that persecuted us and those that were not able to stop the persecutions or stand in the way, and they need their karmic healing. It's not about us. So there's a lot of group contracts coming up, and you'll find that where you felt maybe you had spiritual responsibility kind of subtly for the people around you and why you put up with all their bullshit. And now there's this part of this no energy of like, no, non-negotiable, right? You don't even get to have one little bit of my energy. I'm just too busy owning it and loving it and receiving my own revelation. It's not for sale, you know? And so in owning our wealth and our energy in that way, we're holding and being and living the truth of the mother's timeline. So it's so much about containment of our energy and our potential, of understanding the wealth we've been given, that this advanced energy of an advanced soul is a gift from source we worked on for many lifetimes, and we must treat it as such and treat ourselves as such, as the spiritual gift that we are. And then we know that we can no longer allow ourselves to be treated in an abusive way or even disrespect on any level, or rejected or not received. Move on. Move on. This is what Yeshua said to his disciples. If they don't receive you, move on to the next town. Because don't waste your time. And we're having a really big split, and it's hard because there's a lot of grief, because there's people that you thought were on your path with you, on the spiritual path, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. Oh, shoot, and we have to let them have their own free will experience. And that's part of these group contracts, because in these past lives where you were a spiritual light for your community, it was more appropriate to be a spiritual guide, to have a little bit more spiritual responsibility for souls. But now it's not, because we're in this point where we have to make a choice, and there's that split, and it's becoming more and more clear. And it's like, are you fear-based? Are you faith-based? Because there can't do any in between. And it's kind of becoming black and white. And so stop putting your energy into the garbage, just like it's like we're just handing it over to the monster and taking on their garbage and being the garbage recycler and everything. And we've got to stop doing this. We've got to allow our whole field and our body to be the temple that it is, to host the spiritual light and tend to it and honor it. And it's such a different place from where we've been of negotiating away our power in order to stay safe to those around us in a codependent relationships, to like, oh, I'm just over here in containment, enjoying my own energy. And there's so much, come and get some, but I'm not going to try to go outside of myself in any agenda or any try to heal you or try to help you or try to, it's like, no, let them come and receive. And you be in your own, stop and receive the gift of your own revelation. It's yours. Source gave it to you, and it's a repeat of what's happened in a past life, and then you were rejected because of it. So we're going to stop before we get to the rejection, and we're going to own it. And maybe this is why our journey in the wilderness, part of the spiritual reason we're so isolated right now, because is we can't have community if we're going to just leak out our power and energy. It's and maybe we can come to the place of like, it's okay. It's not, that's not where the old community that I thought, there's sadness there that it doesn't work out the way you thought, but it's like there's got to be a new, this is the energy. Finally, the new structures are starting to land that can fully support us in the truth of who we are, which probably means a new community or different people, and stop beating our head against the wall with those who would like our energy, but they're not interested in doing their own work, because we've got to make this choice right now. Our free will saying yes to spiritual ascension. And of course, we don't really get a choice because we came for this, supernova souls. That's why we're here. And it's, sometimes it's like, well, um, so it's really important, this Jupiter Uranus activation for us, this claiming our higher frequency vibrational energies, overcoming the fear programming that we can't find until we can activate into our higher power, overcoming the fear of rejection and the rejection that will happen, the backlash that's going to happen right now. As you come into your light, there's going to be some backlash, but we have to be like, oh yeah, it's against the light. It's not against me. It's going to be anybody who comes and shows up with the light, they're going to attack, you know? And so can you stand there and not run away and say, no, 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 this, you're the invaders of this earth. We're in resonant frequency with her. And they're trying to use the technologies, our technologies that they stole, to create a frequency that makes us not want to be here or not feel safe. That's what these towers are. The frequency emitted, there's different frequencies like codes that they can emit, programs to directly affect the sensors, the biosensors that they've implanted in our bodies through graphene, replicating graphene, lifelike organisms that don't actually have life in our body, self-assembling in order to be biosensors to communicate with towers and through individual devices to control how we feel and think. So the vibration that they would like us to be at is a fear vibration. And it's like an impending doom because that's what they want to create, but it's not working because the mother and her peace and the mother love and the harmony, that vibration of our consciousness is so much more powerful, but it's important to understand the signature they want us to fall into. And with supernova souls, the impending doom energy makes us feel like, I got to do something to fix it. See? And that's how they get us trapped. And it's so subtle and so subconscious, we don't even realize it. Just being pumped into our world. And this is the Owning Your Energetic Field course. So important. The most important thing for supernova souls right now. Understand we have this energy body that is so powerful and it's more real than our physical body, but they don't want us to know about it. But in order to access the implants and send frequencies and tell our body to feel and think certain things, they've got to have access to our energetic field. So when we learn how to fortify our field, learn we have this field, learn how to strengthen and own this field through working with the levels of consciousness and the chakra system and our energy anatomy, it is the most important, most powerful way to protect yourself. So the next installment of this Owning Your Energetic Field course, it's a standalone course, but this one on the 27th, April 27th, Saturday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. It's accessing creation energy. So, working specifically with the sacral chakra and accessing and feeling safe and making sure other people aren't accessing our creation energy. And because we've been taught to fear this energy, like we said, going back to Atlantean time and the catastrophes, if you access creation energy, you're going to cause destruction. And that's not true. And we've got to have it. It's part of ourselves. We've got to access it. Gotta come back into balance. If you don't have balance in your lower chakras and access to your creation energy, you can never use your higher chakras and contain your field. Think about it. Our higher chakras are about imagining and dreaming and visioning the power of our ability to create and see in pictures. And so that's why the creation energy is so important. You can never see in pictures, you can never create, you can never go outside of the construct of what they've created for us if you don't have access to your creation energy. And yet it's been chained to the lower chakras and shamed, you know, sexual energy, just so distorted and shame. And it's like when you work this energy, your personal power, your sacral power creation energy of the lower power chakras, and you have that access to that energy in your higher chakras, it's completely different energy. And it's beautiful. And it resonates right where we started talking about this revelation and living in an ecstatic state, because this is what living is supposed to be, not just surviving and getting through on like all the all of our God-given source energy that's our birthright stolen from us, and we get a little trickle and we're just limping along trying to survive, and all the poisoning and all the attacks on our being. And um so uh we're in owning our energetic field, we're taking our power back from where we've been giving it away, and we're sealing up our energy so that it cannot be fed upon, and then it's available for us and to work with and co-create and bring into manifestation our dreams. We have so many dreams and seeds we've planted over many lifetimes and evolutions, and the seeds, they were kicked aside. They didn't have fertile ground to grow, and yet they're still there. A seed can, in the right conditions, can be saved for hundreds of years and still grow into that plant or that tree. And so um, it's interesting though, because it's like the metaphor of coming back to the mother and the mother's love. And it's like, oh, she's our fertile ground. And then we can reconnect with her in our energetic field. And all of these seeds that we've planted through these lifetimes and this whole evolution can begin to take hold and grow and be nourished. So we must come back to the garden. See, got all this spiritual potential, and yet we haven't been able to receive it. And that's why the mother, the goddess, is the only way forward. This Christ consciousness, this impulse is coming and within us, and we're donning our robe, our golden robe of light. Um, but how can we do that if we don't feel worthy to receive? So this Jupiter Uranus activation is total revolution of our self-worth, so that we can open up to the mystical spiritual revelation, to the love of the mother's love holding us, so that we can receive that Christ impulse. So there's fertile ground. We are the fertile ground. We are the bride of Christ. We are the temple, and we must build it. So Taurus, all this in Taurus is telling us our physical body is so important. It's having a revolution. So we really want to support our physical body in the detox process that's happening, a revolution of structures, revolution of cellular structures, because we're turning our body into light. So we've got to drop the dross. And we've been poisoned with dross, with the nanotechnology and the toxicity. It's like, and so it's it's actually boomeranging. It's giving us a powerful opportunity to completely own every cell of our body and to vibrate at such a frequency that the nanotech and the toxicity just can't be there. Because this is another example of our technologies being used against us. It keeps coming up, so I'm going to talk about it. It's like, it keeps coming up, and I'm like, no, that's not relevant for this, or that's not. But it seems to be really important. So I came across this concept around the Essenes and the Essene tribes that were the ancient goddess worshiping, but in the structures supporting Yeshua and coming in to his light body, his transfiguration. And so the Essene cultures are the cultures that supported, and we all have lifetimes in these Essene cultures, the supernova souls. And so the way that the Essenes would protect themselves from invaders was to rate radiate a very high frequency that was uncomfortable to those that couldn't resonate there, you know? And it's really interesting because it's like a weird karmic backlash or something where maybe this is why part of the reason or some understanding this can help us claim back our frequency and our permission for our higher frequency because they're doing that to us now by trying to create such a low frequency on the earth and these literally energy military grade weapons being used on regular everyday citizens and trying to create that dark frequency that we're like, I got to get out of here, you know, to try to get us to give up on life. This is not you. It's not your messages. It's not your vibration. It's not your emotions. It's being mechanically created. And you bought into it as and you're like, how do I heal? I got more karma to clear. I gotta help everybody with everything. And it's like, no, no, no. That's just a resonant frequency vibration that they want you at. And it's not true. And it's not you. And now we shake it all off. The mother says, get rid of this shit. No more. She says, I claim rightful ownership over this realm, rightful dominion over this beautiful, sacred realm of earth and the invaders and those that the technologies that designed to cause harm and those humans that would use them to cause harm gotta go. But it's interesting because it's like they're another example of them because we were working with this directed energy in a very beautiful way in Atlantean time on the cutting edge for healing, for supportive evolution, for supporting the people, understanding the connection between geometry and color and form and nature, and just so beautiful what we were doing in Atlantean time as scientists and spiritualists. And then they took our energy we were working with, made it into a weapon, and blamed us for the catastrophes. And it's interesting because it's almost like the same thing. They're like, oh, well, you used frequency weapons of our own devices because we were higher frequency beings. They're like, you used frequency for security and to kick us out. And so we're going to use frequencies to kick you off your planet. And it's like, oh, no, no, no. Mm-mm. Can you feel it? And can we all stand and face these oppressors and say, no, we're not running away from you in fear. you know, we're just to stand in the light and stand with the mother. And I'm just going to face this and say, you're not the boss of me. You never were. And now you must give back what is ours. And just this very clear picture of these energies that have been controlling the planet. They're invaders. They don't belong here. And so we turn the ship around because now the organic, higher frequency vibration of spiritual activation and Kundalini awakening of the earth is we know that as the frequency of the earth rises, those entities of the lower dimensions cannot be here. So it's funny how they're like trying to keep it low vibration and low oxygen because they can't exist in a high oxygen environment and we're being starved of our oxygen. They're literally farming our iron and our electricity from our blood with this nanotech. And it's like, oh no, 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 no more farming our energy. No more energy harvesting. And so, this is why this backlash, because they're running out of energy, they're running out of power. And so they're kind of trying to get it wherever they can, and they'll work through anybody at any time. So just know that it's not them, it's energy working through them. You can love them and have a boundary for the weird demonic shit, you know. Um, and so we're claiming this higher frequency vibration. So this is what the Scorpio full moon is about, because the Scorpio full moon, Scorpio wants meaning and purpose and depth and understanding. They're willing to go into the shadows to find more purpose and meaning, And so it's about cleaning out these dark emotional places that have been hidden, the deep dive. And this is the picture I'm seeing for the Scorpio full moon is that treasure chest. The treasure chest is everything you've earned as spiritual gifts and worked with over lifetimes. And it's like all you came here to do. You can't get out of here without it. You can't run away from this planet and leave your treasure chest and never express that. This is what I've seen again and again in SuperNova astrology charts. It's like, yeah, you got all this karma you came here to clear up, but it's not enough to clear your karma. You came here to express. This is the throat chakra shit coming forward because it's like all that times you were shut down for being the light, persecuted for being the light, rejected for being the light, shut down, rejected, and exiled or persecuted for speaking the truth, for exposing the darkness. That's why they really had to get rid of you, because you were going to expose who they really are. You saw. They saw your light, and you saw their snakes and horns, and they had to eliminate you, you know? But now you've overcome all that. They can't kill you for who you are anymore. This is why it's such a strange thing, because it's like we went through this evolutionary place where karmically that was in our personal karma, and then you overcome that. And then you're like, okay, so they can try to make it uncomfortable for you here and try to steal your soul and try to steal your energy and keep you traumatized. But your life is yours. And now we take back our full life force. That's this eclipse, the total solar eclipse in 19 degrees Aries, authority over our energy, becoming the king or queen of our field and saying, this is sacred source. It's only going to be used in alignment, just like the mother says. So when we have this prayer and this beautiful image of the mother claiming dominion over her realm, let her claim dominion over your body too, and love and heal your body and give your body full permission to come into its resonant vibrational frequency and have its revolution. So as the mother claims her rightful dominion over this realm, it's like eliminating those technologies and all that seeks to cause harm to humans and life. And then we're also inviting that to happen in our body. Because if the mother has rightful dominion over our body is her body, then that nanotech and implants and all that has to go too, right? Just no, this is her garden, and that shit's got to go. And so we're in this place of finding this understanding that the oppressors that oppressed us have no power over us, and we're more powerful, and our human consciousness, and we have dominion, and we have our right. We stand with the mother, and so it's our world too, and we're her army. It's really cool. We found this supernova souls, like energy of coming together in the way we have and all over the world, even though we're not in person. Wow. Our intention and our energy together is so powerful. And it's so beautiful to stand with her and feel that we know when you're with her, you know that your action is coming from deep in the heart and can't be misaligned. It can't be misconstrued. It can't be manipulated. And this is the thing. It's been really hard for supernova souls in this situation we said, where we had these people that we thought were our teachers or our leaders, our helpers, our guides. And then it turns out that they're evil people pretending to be good. And it's like, oh, but there's a message that that pain of the betrayal and not being able to trust anyone and all that is actually pushing us deeper into the truth of who we are, and especially who we are as her army. And then when we can be in that truth. So the message is that, like, when you're feeling vulnerable, like you don't know who you can trust, and because we've been so manipulated, when you show up in your truth, which in her truth, and that's alignment, everything is exposed. So even if they're not exactly who they say they are, or they don't have your best interest at heart, it will be revealed because you're in your truth, and all truth will be revealed. All dark will come into the light. And that's what this Uranus, ultimately, Jupiter Uranus is about, overcoming the incredible spiritual activation coming in of higher frequency vibrations that overcomes the limitations. So we're overcoming the freedom, finding the freedom to overcome the limitations of this physical world and of the lower matrix and those that have sought to keep us in prison and from our own power. It's like, oh, it's destructive. Better not touch that. If you touch it and you show them, you have this revelation, you show them who you really are, they're going to reject you. They're going to kill you. They're going to hurt you. So just don't do it. And now it's like, we have a light army and we're all going to do it together. So are you ready, world? And it's up to us to own our light. It's up to them to deal with where they persecuted us for our light and our healing. And they allowed their beautiful, most beautiful spiritual healing gift to be killed and persecuted and exiled. And that's theirs to deal with. We have been carrying the shame of those who hurt us for so long. And this is so much. If you feel pain in a relationship right now, as a supernova soul, the pain is very likely the pain they feel in the deep repressed state at what they did to you in a past life. Stop it. Drop it. Stop, drop, and roll. As we are turning, we're lighting on fire, energetically for sure. So the powerful thing about this next month is that we've got all of our personal planets, or the sun and then Venus and then Mercury, all crossing over Jupiter and Uranus. So we had the conjunctions, and we're going to have the next one at 22 degrees saying, hey, now we tumble over into building new structures. We've done enough breaking down of the old. Now we get to build. And that's so exciting, but we've talked about how when these planets come together, like Jupiter and Uranus, they're further out planets. And so they have a further away, they're kind of like a backdrop energy. Then when our personal planets, the quicker moving planets, interact with those planets, that's when we really feel it. So our personal activation of this Jupiter Uranus conjunction is in the second half of May, because we've got starting on the 13th, the sun comes to Uranus, and then Venus will come to Uranus on the 18th. The 19th, Mercury comes to Uranus, and then the sun will come to Jupiter, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Jupiter. And Mercury, Jupiter is on the 5th of June. So the 3 weeks from 4 weeks really, of like from about the 10th or so, when we start feeling the sun Uranus, the 16th, excuse me, the 10th. I was right. So about the 10th to the 10th of May to the 10th of June. And that's when we're going to have like little stars, little bells ringing as these planets, our personal planets, ding, 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 cross over Jupiter and Uranus. They won't be an exact conjunction, but they will be close. And so it's like linking the sun, who we think we are, in a massive spiritual overhaul, revolution of our relationship to form and break down in our personality constructs who we thought we were. So our identity, ding, 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 higher activation. And then Venus, our feminine, our intuition, our emotions, our peace with ourselves. We got this Venus Chiron that's happening today. Should mention it. Venus is exactly conjunct Chiron today. And it's like releasing of all the wounds of the feminine, right? She's just stepping out of all those old stories and coming back into the goddess that she is, into this beautiful holy grail of creation energy. And there's no negative, and it's just a gift. And whatever happens out there after it leaves her field, not her problem. She just is emanating, radiating, and being this fountain, this holy grail to support this beautiful spiritual energy coming back into our life and our world. So it's really powerful that Venus is facing off with Chiron. And then when Venus comes because she's the ruler of Taurus, right? And Venus represents love and beauty and what's nice and beautiful and in harmony. And so it's this Jupiter Uranus in Taurus, because Venus is the ruler, is like the official start, celebration, start, kickoff, fireworks of the new Renaissance. And so Venus moving over these planets, and that will happen on the 18th with Uranus, and on the 23rd of May, we're talking with with Jupiter, this activation of the feminine, the intuitive. So she's like now dropping all the old stories, and then it's like coming back to herself and her world, her dream. We're going to do it her way now. When before we were like, oh, honey, you're too bright, you're too intense, you're too much healing, you're too much light, you got to go away. It's like, oh, wait a minute, come back. We love you. We want you. And this is exactly the metaphor we're talking about supernova souls beating our heads against the wall with our communities of people that are actually, something in them is diametrically opposed to ever accepting or supporting us. And we're like, here's some more love. Here's some more love. Don't you want some more spiritual love? And it's like, contain it. Contain that. It's sacred. and offer it where it's received. And so that's kind of the energy of May, and then Mercury will be at the end of May going over and the beginning of June. And and Mercury, we know the Mercury retrograde is telling us the timeline of all this stuff, because we had the eclipse season and Mercury retrograde in Aries at the same time, total solar eclipse. And so with Chiron, Venus and Chiron together in Aries, it's giving that Aries energy. We've got Mars coming up to Neptune in Pisces. So we've really got Pisces represented. And then we have the Taurus energy. And it's very, very beautiful because it's saying that, Pisces is the end of the zodiac, Aries is the beginning, and Taurus is coming into a new form. And it's a revolution of form itself, of our relationship to form, our values, our structures on every level of our life. So just be prepared for shit to fall apart. But we've been here for a while, right? Shit's been falling apart for a while. But now it's falling apart in order to like kind of we move the rubble away and be like, oh, there's a new that no seeds are sprouting, right? The fertile ground. And new structures are starting to form and grow. And can we rest in that? Can we trust in that? Can we be a part of building those? Can we allow ourselves the permission to walk away from the abuse and to go where we're received, to honor ourselves? So now the Scorpio full moon is everything in a culmination of this eclipse season. Mercury turns direct on the 26th. So Friday, and on the 23rd is this full moon, Tuesday. So it's really starting, like the full moon is the culmination of eclipse season. And then a couple days later, Mercury finally turns direct and is going to go back over for the third time that eclipse point. 3 conjunctions with Chiron. And it's like, it feels like we were talking about Mercury in this retrograde going back to get Venus, the feminine. Like, come on, girl, we can do this. And he's like, I'm going to go over this point. I'm going to get you and bring you to this place where you're supported to drop the wounds and the stories. And we want to do it your way. We want to love again. It's so beautiful. And then, so Mercury's final pass over these places, the final conjunction of Mercury and Chiron, I thought I had it right here. Oh, there it is on May 8th. And that's interesting because we talked about, then we move into the little bells ringing. Like, what does this mean in my life? Because the sun, my identity getting activated and revolution of structures. The feminine, my intuition, my relation to emotions, my self-worth, overhaul, revolution, and structures, and then Mercury, our conceptual reality, revolution of structures. So it's very powerful. And it's like the whole month of May is a fallout or a expression of what we're feeling right now with the Jupiter Uranus conjunction. And remember that it's on the heels of this total solar eclipse of Aries. And that eclipse had this portal step through. There's the new you, the new life, who you really are, living in alignment. There's the old shit. Step through. Leave it all behind. Leave all the constructs, all the forms, the structures that no longer fit, and step through to a whole new reality. And so here we are. Our whole new reality is ding, ding, ding. Jupiter, Uranus, higher frequency vibration. Did you forget who you really are? No, you did not. Deep on a cellular level, you have those Gaia codes. You have the vision, the image, the dream of what Mother Earth wants to become. And you are an integral player in this co-creation. Only you can play the role, the part, the petal on the lotus. And so that's where we come back to this Scorpio. I keep trying to talk about this Scorpio full moon. It must be big because I can't talk about it. The Scorpio full moon is the picture of these treasures, these spiritual gifts in the treasure chest, hidden deep in the ocean, hidden away from us, hidden by ourselves, hidden under the rubble, hidden under the stories, hidden under the persecution, hidden under all this stuff. And we've got to go to the deep dive. And in the deep dive, there's a lot of emotions, and there's grief, and there's energies, and there's all of this chains and people who don't want us to have our treasures, who want to steal our treasures for themselves. So it's like we not only a deep dive in facing the emotions, but we also have to face the cold, the alone. We have to face off against the false authorities and clean up the whole shadowy darkness so we can get down to the ocean floor and reclaim what's ours. And so that's what this, we talked about the Scorpio moon, full moon being at 4 degrees. So we're talking about new structures forming that can support us as who we really are. So we got to, of course, drop those other structures. And the energy of the Scorpio full moon being at 4 degrees Scorpio is putting the sun and the moon in a T square with Pluto at 2 degrees. So Pluto has made it as far as Pluto's going to make it in Aquarius. And 2 degrees is official. It's not like last year. Pluto went to 0, just kind of dipping his toes in Aquarius, right? And now it's made all the way, that's fully in Aquarius. Pluto, this is saying, yes, we are moving into the Aquarian age, but Pluto's just about to turn retrograde and on the 3rd of May. And that's really interesting because it's kind of like, okay, are you really ready to move into the Aquarian age? And that's what this T square is about for this full moon, because we've got the sun in Taurus about our wealth, our worth, massive activation of who we really are. Can we handle it? Scorpio, the deep, dark, hidden truths, the grief, the regret, the emotions that keep us from activating, finding those treasures. And then in square to Pluto and Aquarius, pushing the boundary into the Aquarian age. So it's telling us all the issues of what are keeping us from moving into the Aquarian age. And it's this: we've got to receive our true wealth and we've got to clean up the shadow around it. And so much of the shadow around it is represented right now by Black Moon Lilith in the sign of Virgo, because Virgo is an earth sign as well. And Black Moon Lilith is the deepest, darkest secrets and often around the feminine and healing power. So Virgo kind of represents where that true, pure healing energy was called bad, and it's about cleaning up our relationship to our own healer, to purifying ourselves. And purifying so that we can be that pure channel for healing energy. And except for that was demonized, and people are scared of it. Have you seen this? Like, it's weird because don't we want to heal? You would think the healing, because to me, healing is like the mother, the love, like it's correcting, coming back into alignment, the power of life force, the miracle. But a lot of people, because of these programming in past lives, come across the healing power and they're scared of it. It's kind of like when you take a homeopathic remedy, a lot of times you might have an expression of symptoms and then it feels like, oh no, I'm getting sicker. And it's like, no, no, your body's taking an opportunity to throw this off. It's expressing it, you know? And so we've just been so programmed to fear this pure but powerful healing force of the world. And that's who we've been and who we wanted to be through lifetimes. Like we honed these skills for lifetimes to come to earth to share them. And then nobody wanted them. And they called them evil. And they burned us at the stake for our spiritual love that we wanted to bring to the people. And so this is what's so powerful with this Black Moon Lilith energy, because Jupiter and Uranus came together at 21 degrees, this last few days, and Mars was an exact sextile in Pisces. And it's so beautiful because it's like the masculine's on board, her dream. He's like, come on, let's do it. Yeah. Healing power. I love that shit. And Mars is about taking action. That energy of like, yeah, I want mothers, like, I want to care for you, but you got to do it. You got to stand up and receive it. You got to say yes. And that might remain an action step. And of course, we're like, I don't know what we're doing. How do we take action? I'm immobilized in total confusion. And it's like, oh, yeah, stop, be present, be with the mother, and wait for right action to come. If you don't know right action, she says, stop and be with me and breathe, and then it'll come when it's right action, the way you want to move. And then we can act with confidence in this truth within us. So the Scorpio full moon in square to Pluto, and Pluto is a breaker downer, destroyer, and trying to move us into the Aquarian age. So it's destroying our concepts of our identity of what wealth is and our worth. It's destroying our self-worth, our low self-worth, the false concepts around our worth. And, this is where it's like we've been maybe out of survival waiting around for our communities to, recognize or receive us, and then we can feel safe being who we are, and it's like, "No, they burned us," or whatever. They're not gonna recognize us. We don't need them. Like, but we had this belief system that we had to be recognized and accepted in order to stay safe or to be able to do our work or have permission, and it's not happening because 'cause we're demonized and all that shit. That's theirs to figure out, we said, right? Ours thing to figure out is just to stand and be present in our light, in our truth, and not back down, and not shy away, and not run away, and know our frequencies and our consciousness is more powerful, more beautiful, more in alignment, and we own it, and we stand in it, and we breathe with her. And we say, "Hey, their backlash, that's your problem. Go heal yourself, you know? Here's some love. I got extra. I'm an overflowing cup, but I'm not going to let you steal it and leak it." And so much of our wealth has been stolen from us. And maybe that's the deep dive. The grief, the pain, the feelings of failure, the feelings of turning away from the mother and God and not feeling worthy. And we got to go down into the depths of that and get back, deep dive, so we can get back our treasure. And the treasure, this the square with Pluto is saying that what we, so much of what we got to get through is that low self-worth and our whether or not we have permission for our spiritual wealth. We're the only ones that can embody and use our spiritual wealth that source gave us. We're the only ones. It's up to us to do it. And we've got to stop leaking it out and codependently apologizing for who we are, you know? And just can we be there and just be like, "Oh, I'm just in my own revelation. I'm finally enjoying my own energy. And whatever happens over there out there, it just doesn't matter, you know?" And in that frequency, can you feel the magnetic pull of your soul group and your soul members who have also claimed their wealth and their worth and their presence and their permission to be here fully and completely as who you are? And they're magnetically called to you, and nothing can keep us from coming together. That this Scorpio full moon is also a deep magnetic call. As we go deep dive to get our gifts, we're also calling each other. And our core soul group, which could be between, I've gotten between like 6 to 30 people. But that core group you've worked with again and again, it's like they're a part of you and you're a part of them, even though you're so unique and individual. And so that there's a magnetic pull of in our inner soul group, sanctum soul group, souls, the hardest ones to find each other, because they have the most energy together and the most potential, most experience. But like called together. So very, very powerful because just going back to this, Mars was in sextile, at 21 degrees with Jupiter and Uranus. Now Mars is at 22. Jupiter and Uranus are moving to 22. So they're still very close. And Mars is in opposition to Black Moon Lilith at 22 degrees Virgo, and Mars is at 22 degrees Pisces, again, the master builder number. And so we've got Pisces, Mars, our builder, Mars, our masculine, our action taker, our warrior. But in Pisces, which is like the primordial soup of all creation and all possibilities, but it's saying it's definitely a confirmation of the message we've been getting that it's time to recreate and rebuild our world. And so Mars is on board the dream. The masculine is ready to take action in alignment with the mother. It's, oh, yeah, this is what we're doing. I remember now. And feeling worthy of himself of coming back to her love. That's a huge thing for the masculine. And, but the powerful thing is that this, with Black Moon Lilith at 22 degrees Virgo, it's an exact trine right now to Jupiter and Uranus at 22 degrees of Taurus. So Earth trine, about cleaning up the demonization of the healer and reactivating that pure life force energy as the treasures, as an activation of our higher wealth and worth, right? Like we've got to resolve this thing of being demonized as healers and targeted as healers if we're ever going to come back into our healing potential and our power. And this is everything. The communities I'm seeing that we're going to be setting up are so beautiful, where every body, every animal, every human, it feels really good in their body. No pain, healed, carried, held, supported, loved. We must create space where we're loving our body as her body and claiming deep and profound, true, vibrant health. Where at this community, you simply, by being in the energy, arriving there, healing happens, you know, in the mother's love, the mother's garden, healing sanctuary, and this is the energy we've always worked with. And we're like coming back into it as much as this. We're like, I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. It's like, oh, whoa, whoa, there's this deep truth, this brand, this knowing, this love, this healing, the mother's love. We've been on her dream the whole time. We know exactly what we're doing, actually. And get out of the way so we can get going on this, right? Like, that's Jupiter Uranus overcoming all restrictions and limitations to our higher power and saying, get out of the way so we can co-create our new world and claim back all that's ours, you know? And that's the mother's timeline. And it's like pure healing power, miracle power, right? Think about it. The miracles that Jesus was most famous for or became known for as he was Yeshua, as he was doing his ministry, was the healings. Now, to have a miracle healing, and we've all seen the body and what it can do. And that's the power of homeopathy, because it's like a message to the body. And then you watch the miracle and you're like, whoa, because it's unleashing the vital force, the self corrective force. This is the mother energy. And so that's this healing power, and how we've been taught to fear this, um, it through so many manipulations and poisoning of humanity with disease. To keep us from trusting the healing power, but it's all boomerang now. And so that is the energy of what we're coming back into. And that, there's this message that we must reclaim the magic and miracles of the Piscean age in order to move out of it. We got to heal the traumas. We got to rewrite the stories, the distortions of the Christ mythology, but we also have to receive back the miracle. We have to reset back to the very beginning of the Piscean age, the last shift of ages, and reclaim the miracle healings and the revelation. And that's the only way forward. And so we are the miracle. And as we allow the miracle of healing in our life, but this is a big part of what we have, it's like we're reclaiming our treasures, and that's miracles, and receiving the miracles and the revelation for ourselves, stopping and receiving that revelation and enjoying your own energy and containing it. And then we go to share with where it's received. And so, what a huge and complete, massive change and revolution for us supernova souls. It's a revolution of physical form and structures on all levels of our life, but it's a revolution of our true wealth. So, infusing our physical structures with this miracle energy, it's a revival. And it's the revival of all revivals that completely eliminates evil from the earth. And we're right here. And we're standing with her in this glorious, beautiful demonstration of the power of healing, which is also the mother's love. Oh, it's what everyone wants and needs. It's what everything we're all looking for, and all our addictions and all our yearning and relationship and all that. All we want is the mother's love. And we actually are representatives of the mother's love. And that's part of this profound, amazing wealth that we're recovering from underneath the ocean. So, Scorpio full moon on Tuesday, and the square. So the main energy is this T square with Pluto, but the sun, the moon moves fast, and it'll be that day. But the sun square with Pluto we're feeling right now. It's exact today. Sun square Pluto, breakdown of everything you thought, of everything who you were, everything you thought that was meaningful and valuable. It just doesn't actually stack up. to the miracle and the revelation. So now we're gonna live out of the value of that. It's contagious. That's why they don't want us together. So, that and then Mercury turns direct on Friday the 26th, so that's gonna be a huge energy shift, but Mercury won't come out of retrograde shadow until the 14th, and then it's a big shift of energy when Mercury moves over into Taurus on the 16th of May. And so that whole time, and then we're gonna have the twinkling bells of the, all those Uranus and Jupiter conjunctions, and this whole time, we're coming back to um, this really important message right now of an unleashing of this energy. Welcome back in the world of the Kundalini, the healing power, the purified energy of, and that's the Black Moon Lilith activation. Mars opposite, but now in trine to Jupiter and Uranus. And really, Jupiter and Uranus trine Black Moon Lilith are pretty much almost exact, very close through the whole month of April. And so it's really powerful. And then we'll feel it into the beginning, the first, and through the first week of June. We'll feel Uranus square Black Moon Lilith. And this is like that Jupiter awakening, revolution of wealth, revolution of self worth, according to where we've been demonized as healers. And cleaning it all up and letting that power flow again and be like, there's no negative. If you don't want it, that's fine. Get out of the way. I'm not going to force it on you. I'm not going to try to get you to heal anymore. I'm just going to be in the energy of healing. And if it's too hot, get out of the kitchen, because you're recommitting to the mother, recommitting to the miracle, recommitting to your true values of your deep treasures that have been hidden from you and stolen. And it's light and love and power. And some people might not like that. The demonic shit in their being that doesn't want to change or heal or grow doesn't like it. That's not your problem. Keep shining that light and stand strong and true. And that's the energy of this week of astrology. Because just remember, we had Saturn sextile Uranus completely reworking our whole reality according to a revolution of wealth. And then total solar eclipse in the middle of Aries with Chiron healing all the wounds and claiming back our life force and stepping into a whole new reality. And then we've got Jupiter, Uranus. A whole new reality is our higher frequency vibration, miracles, magic, our true wealth. And that's how we rebuild our world and move into the Aquarian age. We must retrieve our treasures. And it's so beautiful that we're here together and we found each other. So thank you so much, Supernova Souls, for being here, going through all you've gone through, listening to these messages. I super appreciate your support. And you can do that through the membership group. $10 a month gets you a weekly update, resources for Supernova Souls, and also live chats on the Telegram channel. And then $20 a month, that's all that plus the live activations and sharing circles, a great way to come and speak your truth, be heard, and be seen, and be the leader you are, Supernova Soul. So also, there's a link to donate if you'd like to make an offering that way. And please consider joining us for the full moon activation, one of the most powerful full moons. Culmination of eclipse season and T square with Pluto at 2 degrees Aquarius just before he turns retrograde. Deep dive and our truth, our soul group. Anyway, so hopefully you can join that activation live or on the replay. Your energy's with us. And that's Tuesday the 23rd at 10 a.m. And then also next Saturday the 27th is the new installment of the Owning Your Energetic Field course. The original Owning Your Energetic Field course is an overview, and these are each standalone classes where we overview and review the whole energy field, but then we also look specifically at one chakra, the energies of one chakra, in this case, the sacral chakra, and our permission to access creation energy. The same energy, it's sexual energy, it's demonized, to create worlds, it can create babies, this energy in our body. But it's the same as that healing power too. And so with the shame programming on fear of our own power, we've disconnected ourselves from our energy. And most of us think that that energy, if we even have access to it, it's only for, sexual intimacy or creating babies. It's only for sharing on a lower chakra vibrational energetic level, and it's not. It's like everything as we bring it into the higher chakras. So like I said, we can't access those higher chakras till we get our lower power centers worked out and permission to access that same energy we're talking about, the powerful Kundalini snake, the good snake, the true, pure healing power before it was demonized and turned into the devil, or the devil turned it into the devil. And so I that class is Saturday, the 27th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So the information to sign up for those is in the information box below. But thank you so much for being here, Supernova Souls, for being you, for being with me, for listening to these messages, for holding these truths in your space. I can't tell you anything you don't already know. So if it resonates, it's your truth, and own it and live it. And uh, blessings and love to you, Supernova Soul, on your journey. This is such a crucial and incredible and powerful and potent time. And yet the message is just sit back and ride, let go of what you've been carrying, be present with the mother, be in the moment, be in your truth, let all be exposed, and act from that place of presence and truth when right action comes. And so it's like, it is a revolution for us of dropping all those constructs and letting go of all where we've been pushing against the machine and move into building her dream. So it's a crossroads. It's an activation, an initiation. Be present with these energies as much as possible. It's a once in a lifetime occurrence. So don't miss it. Keep breathing, keep loving. I love you so much, Supernova Souls. I hope to see you soon at that full moon activation or that course on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.